Hey, this is Sam.
And this is Ian from Detroit Gaming. And today we stumbled upon a pretty sick build for Nexus Wars for Starcraft 2. So you basically want to run down what we do?
Yeah. Basically, we start up the game. We claim where we want to go, top or bottom, together, and then we just basically start off with Reapers.
How many Reapers do we normally do?
We figured that usually about 4 Reapers apiece. We time them together, give team control to one or the other person, time them perfectly. 4 Reapers seem to do really well.
Yeah, and then once we force them to basically either commit with some sort of air, we counter with Marines, and then we back the Marines up with Marauders to increase the Reaper push. The Reapers seem to be really effective early game. And once they get to the buildings, they also throw the little grenades, so they do extra damage to the buildings. Once you see later on here, they actually, when we get 8 total, they really push well. But I believe in this game we go 8 or 7 each, 7 or 8 each total. So we actually go a little more, but you can see how we basically keep the enemy at bay the entire game.
Yeah, the Reaper, their quick ability to get down and then reinforce each other really helps out a lot. When we go with our Marine build to back it up, that usually allows the enemy kind of like a mixed signal. They don't know what to do, so it gives them basically allows you to get more time in to think what you want to be after the Marauders, which we usually figure out beforehand. But yeah.
As you can see now, we're already at their base 3 minutes into the game, pushing. And we're just going to keep reinforcing here with more Reapers over and over and over again, forcing them to pull their SCVs so they're not working on building or repairing. And basically force them to... We want to basically force a cannon out of them because it costs them 150 minerals. Early game is a big deal. Okay, go.
Yeah, basically you can see this is a good example of the Reapers being able to come in quickly. They're being able to jump in there, reinforce each other. You'll see in a couple of seconds what they're forcing them to do. It just doesn't really work out. As Ian said, we're trying to force them to cannon early, which they're doing. They will do in a little bit because they can't really do anything else.
Yep. And as soon as they eventually kill these Reapers, we already have, since they're so fast, we already have another set of 8 here. We're already reinforcing it, and they actually tear through the roaches pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, then we went ahead, and as you can see, they're being forced to get a cannon up there behind their buildings. That's what, 150 minerals that now they just can't spend on upgrading their units or getting more units out there. And we're back in their base, hurting them. So, and then by the time that they finish off that wave, here's another wave of 8 right there, and here's some more. So yeah, keeping the pressure on them, keeping them good, keeping them thinking, keep them trying to move while we get the leisure of being able to build what we want to when we want to.
As you can see, we're just still in the phase of producing Reapers at this point. Sam has finished up his last one. I've actually went down and produced 2 barracks, but I actually forgot to add 1 more Reaper on this. That's why. But once I finish up 2 more, or actually, we're gonna this build we're gonna finish up with a line of Marines, because they could have just built any anti-air and basically wrecked us for a little while. I don't know why they didn't do that, but it's the luck of the draw, I guess. And at this point in the game, we actually lost a guy. It does benefit us in one way. We do get his income, so we can tech up a little faster in the immediate future. But in the late game, it really hurts us because we're down a ton of units that we could. It just hurts us. We're still tearing through Marauders and everything because we outnumber everything so much with the Reapers.
And as you can see, we got a couple Marines up, like he was saying, just in case it's either fodder for the Reapers to come in and people to shoot at the Marines and at the Reapers so they can do the damage, or if they do go air, we are covered and protected from that. So it is a good move to usually do that.
Until we can get proper AA out, but
yeah.
so we don't get totally wrecked by a single Banshee or something like that.
So usually about this time, we're deciding amongst us who's going to go Marauder just to get that tank out. Then we're probably going to decide if we're going to go 2 Marauder sections or if we're going to go maybe Marauder Ghost, something like that. It looks like Tronic is being smart and putting a pylon up.
Yep, I put a pylon up soon. And
as you can see, you got your pylon up. And Elder built his. Nice.
Yep, and you actually have 2 of them up because you built. An important thing to remember now is because when the person leaves, someone can always build that pylon and then get the extra income for the guy being missing. So, and you can upgrade it. So it's a really helpful thing to do because it ends up allowing you to upgrade faster and tech faster.
Absolutely.
And we still are pushing, even though they're building a little more Marauders and stuff like that. Massive ball.
Here we go.
Storms do weaken us a lot, but we have so many units that it doesn't really matter at this point.
And there I go. I'm putting up a Marauder.
And I started teching directly to Ghosts, and he goes Marauders. Ghosts late game are really good with the snipe ability.
Any type of biological unit. Yeah, Ghosts are just nasty with them, especially in this game, yeah. I went Marauder, but even before I built a Marauder then up, because we were pushing so well, after I built my pylon, I immediately built one of the upgrade centers, because you want to get the concussive shell. That makes a huge difference. You can turn 4 Marauders into just an iron wall, basically, for your Reapers and Marines to shoot through. To protect you, so yeah, that's definitely something important to remember. Make sure you get that concussive and stim out as fast as possible.
And just to let you know that he did throw down a Zealot to eventually tech to Storm and Marauder. Storm's late game are basically the best unit you could do, especially if you go past 40 minutes like we do in this game.
Yep. And we're gonna see Tronic give some help in a second. Yep, there it is. We'll name the help out in the bottom. Always helpful. Always helpful. They're starting to ball up top and come back a little bit. This is perfect. This is what we want. Finally, they're being able to retaliate. We can see what tech pattern they're going to go with, and then we basically counter it with our build. I started to put some storms up, lessen out the army a little bit. It's still going Marauder though. Tronic is still going heavy Ghost because there's still a decent amount of biological units in that army.
Yeah, basically, end game, we want to end up with me maxed on Ghosts and just a bunch of storms from Sam, and then a moderate amount of Marauders if needed, if they end up going heavy, any armored stuff.
Absolutely.
You can see the Ghosts right now, they're wrecking. Excuse me. Eventually I do get Cloak. I don't believe I have a upgrade facility yet, I do not. But as soon as I get Cloak, they will end up being very cost effective with the snipe ability.
And our teammate comes up, I believe. Oh no, we just repair.
Yep, we built two Chalupa cannons, and I believe we were able to hold this off pretty well. The only problem with this build right now with the buildings is a lot of Ghosts get plugged up right here next to the cannon, and I didn't realize that at the time it would do that, so that was kind of a bad move. But you can see they are teching Thors, and the snipe ability just rips through them still. And they do have a couple storms in there, but they're not massing them, so we can still build the light Ghost and such like that.
Yep.
Again, we'll watch the storm once we get to it. It's just going to fall real fast. He does have blink on the stalkers. There's nothing really we can counter that with, other than just more units. An important thing to note is the incomes here. Since Sam did have the extra pylon, he is at 224, and I'm at 164. Now if we go to the pylons, he has 2 upgrades on his, and I believe I'm still at the. I'm at the second upgrade, and I think he is at the.
It's getting too hot.
I'm on second on both.
Okay, he's on the second. I believe I'm on the first still.
Well, you're a second. You're second.
Oh, am I at second? Okay.
Yep, we're all second. So.
But once he starts upgrading, his income's going to really kick in, and he ends up floating me money towards the end, It's kind of what you need to do. Even the carriers at this point too. I'll go back to the fight. The carriers get ripped apart by the snipe. Same with the Colossus. The Colossus do outrange, but once the cloaking ability kicks in, they do end up raping the Colossus. And I believe you put up a few medevacs, correct? Yep. 3 or 4.
Yep, I put up 4 medevacs, and then I keep going Marauder for right now, and then I go Storm, just to give a little cushion there. And you'll see that down there we kind of helped out a little bit. I threw up some Immortals to help out with the Thors, and I think later in the game you'll see we do help them out some more.
Yeah, we do throw up a lot of Storms late game.
Important thing is, like what Tron was saying earlier, you do just make sure that you have the pylons upgrading on the push. That is super key. So we are now all 3 upgrades on our pylons.
One thing I really noticed, to completely interrupt you there like a douchebag, I just noticed that there was a Kerrigan right down here, and I think if we would have known that a little ahead of time, we would have pushed for Kerrigans a lot faster. But we do end up having to get a bunch of Kerrigans out to help this push because we're down a guy. But you can see the massive ghost right here just raping. The bottom is getting pushed back pretty heavily with Thor, Colossus, tons of Dingles, a few Banshees in there, and lots of Phoenix. I believe we end up building a lot of Vikings and then switching. Isn't that what happened? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I know I built. We both built a bunch of Storms down bottom to help out, which actually do end up helping out a lot.
Yeah, we started building right now. I think I have.
I am maxed
6,
right
7
now.
right now. Down there's 8, and you have Immortals and Storms down there too.
Yep. And I am maxed on building. I'm 119 out of 120.
And I am
focusing on upgrades right now.
A few away from being max as well. You can see I have a ton that goes.
I put out the first Kerrigan. Like up top, they're starting to ball up. Right down here, we're starting to use our Kerrigans to help out. Let them know what to do, because seems to be holding to the last second there.
There's the nuke. Hopefully we're synced up.
Yep. Looks like we're bringing our Kerrigans down to help out a little bit.
Yep. And a cool trick with the Kerrigans is when you hit T for the Razor Swarm, you know, aim obviously in the biggest cluster units, but then hold down Shift after you just hit T and then click back. So as soon as you do the Razor Storm, it walks immediately back, so you save the Kerrigan from getting hit.
Yeah, she's powerful, but she'll be squashed pretty quickly.
And at this point, they have, I believe, 2 or 3 Kerrigans bottom, and then they have a couple top, or they transfer them to the top. As soon as they leave, we end up pushing back. This is a pretty intense battle.
Upgrade complete. Upgrade complete. Upgrade.
And you can hear my upgrades going off right now. I'm at 7 on the infantry right now for the ghosts. And yeah, they do have Kerrigan top. We're getting Razor Swarmed right now. And we still have ours chilling here.
Upgrade complete.
We can see all these ghosts going to town over here. And they just got, as soon as they get one detected, they get raped, but
Upgrade
they do end up turning the tide. Razor Swarms raking in a lot of kills.
Upgrade complete.
They have at least 3 Kerrigans.
Yep.
I ended up dragging some ghosts down, which is a good thing. It can help push.
Help lessen that ball of enemy. Again, keeping our eyes on
Still
upgrades.
Massive, yep, still massive death ball here. Kerrigans the carriers are starting to get upgraded. The Colossus are +9 attack, and the Thors are +8 attack at this point.
So they're pretty beefy.
Yeah, they're fully maxed upgrades. It's just pretty scary.
But we end up pushing back with the storms. edging close to the end of the game, the 40 minute mark, and it's time to start. If you don't, time to start tech switching just a little bit. If you don't have the right things for it, which Ian was saying earlier that storms are pretty nasty. End game.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only thing you can do. So at this point, we're taking our Kerrigans and going up top. We have 4 Kerrigans, and we're trying to prevent this death ball from coming up the ramp, and so we can try and save our nuke. We're just trying to hold off our nuke as long as possible. We're able to let us push the death ball back a little bit, and we're closer to that 40-minute mark. And basically, once we hit that 40-minute mark, since we're faster, we have a faster army, we are going to push against the Thors. This is kind of a rule of thumb. And the storms. We end up, I do knock out a section of Ghost spec here, and I do fill in extra set of storms for the top. So we just because it is so good late game, and once you see what happens, see from the top, we are starting to push because we're a lot faster up an army, and they don't have that many detectors, and the Marauders are taking care of the armor for us. And see the Ghosts are just tearing through the carriers, and the Marauders and the Hellions, or the Reapers and stuff, are taking care of the Thors and the Storms. Bottom's kind of going back and forth. We are still using a couple Kerrigans down there to help it along. Lots of Razor Storms going off.
Upgrade complete.
And we're almost at their main main ramp, I guess you'd say.
Upgrade complete.
And the upgrades in the background you hear are actually, we're upgrading the Zerg stuff. And you may ask yourself why we're doing that. It's actually because when you do that, it upgrades the Kerrigan attack and melee and range. So it's actually really handy to do, and basically the only thing you can do with your money that's left over at the end of the game. And they just lost 1 Kerrigan top, and the storms are still going off. Anything you want to add, Sam?
No, yeah, it's just, we're just pushing bad because, yeah, we have had the smaller units from the beginning that are really fast, but now they have so much damage. Plus, it's no real difference. They have to nuke.